not in favor of orthodontists having 4, 5, 6 practices. The overwhelming majority of orthodontists I know who have 2 or 3 practices, one is doing really well, one is doing okay, and just doesn't seem to want to grow. So keep your existing practice, the one that's your bread and butter, the one that makes you a ton of money, and double down on it. Work your tail off. Take that $2 million practice and make it a $4 million practice. You don't think you can do that? I'll guarantee you can. And I'll guarantee you it's less work than you having to go ahead and try to start a satellite. Hello there, Orthopreneurs, and welcome to another episode of your 5-Minute Friday. I'm your host, Dr. Glenn Krieger. And here's the thing. Many of you out there currently, as I say this, and as you hear this, are in process of doing something that I think is one of the biggest mistakes you could possibly make. And if you didn't hear this earlier, I apologize. But all too often I have conversations with orthodontists who say to me, I've got a great practice, it's growing, but I really think I could do better in another location as a satellite. And I'm thinking I'm going to open a satellite practice. And I sit here and I say, why would you do that? Well, because there's an opportunity, I can grow. I say, at the end of the day, there are very, very, very few reasons I would open a satellite practice nowadays. If you're the only orthodontist in a rapidly growing place, nowhere near your existing practice where you can't get people to come and visit you, and it's truly the opportunity of a lifetime, then you open a satellite. My friend, the pedo, is opening a new practice 20 miles from here, and I want to be with him or her. I don't know if that's necessarily a good enough reason, because if you've never worked with a pedo practice, it's brand new, you're not going to get any significant growth in your practice for the first 5 years. And there's a long story. I'm not going to get into that why, but we've experienced it ourselves, and I'm not alone. So let's go back to satellites. Think about this. If you open a satellite practice, you now have a second rent, a second build out, second equipment, second supplies. You can do phones together potentially under a call center. Lab, not a big deal, but you need to get all this other stuff. And for what? So you can spend more time worrying about a second location, have to hire another staff or split your team? There are opportunities where you're not open full time, so your team is underutilized. But in many cases, good luck getting your existing team that you pay full time, who have a full admin day, getting them to go to your satellite now and do work instead of admin. I'm just telling you, you open a satellite when you absolutely, categorically have no other choices available to you and must open a satellite, which is never. So the reason I say this is because I'm yet to meet the orthodontist who wants to open a satellite. And when I say satellite, that's different than opening another practice, right? And even that's fraught with major problems. I'm not in favor of orthodontists having 4, 5, 6 practices. The average orthodontist. There are people I know who are friends of mine who have amazing jobs of having 3, 4, 5 practices. But the overwhelming majority of orthodontists I know who have 2 or 3 practices, one is doing really well, one is doing okay, and just doesn't seem to want to grow. So keep your existing practice, the one that's your bread and butter, the one that makes you a ton of money, and double down on it. Work your tail off. Take that $2 million practice and make it a $4 million practice. You don't think you can do that? I'll guarantee you can. And I'll guarantee you it's less work than you having to go ahead and try to start a satellite. Guarantee you it's less work. All the momentum is there. Your patient base is there. Your team is there. Getting more Google reviews, marketing, everything is already in your favor. And you've got your niche. So again, my whole point of this discussion is don't go chase the money and think you're just going to go get a satellite practice and it's going to work out and be peaches and cream. I've been there. I've done it. I know many people who've done it. And you're just looking at yourself with some bigger issues that are there. And so I would say 2 things that I see as the biggest mistakes that orthodontists make are they go and get a satellite, and the second is they get an associate. But we're going to do that one in another 5-Minute Friday. Wishing you all the best. I sure hope I see you at Summit, because Orthopreneurs Summit in Vegas is growing like you cannot believe. It's beautiful how many people have signed up already. We're going to pull out every stop there is in Vegas, both from a lecture, educational perspective and from a sort of a social, surprise perspective. So go to opsummit2025.com, sign up now before the price goes up again, and I hope to see you there. Have a great day.